Hello, this video is about iterating, which means going through a list. In this case, the list is numbers with either whole numbers or numbers with decimals. So you can see up here from the list that we have 87.2, 98. So we got a mixture of whole numbers and numbers that have decimals. So that's what we got so far with our list. We have two variables defined up here as sum and sum2, both with 0.0, which makes them a data type, not integer, but float, which means float just means it has decimals allowed, where integers means there's no decimals allowed. So we want to, because we're going to do an average, we want to make sure that the sum is going to allow decimals. So we have decimals up here. We have the beginning of these two variables defined as float, or again numbers that can store numbers with decimals. So we want to iterate through this list one at a time, totaling the entire list. So I'm going to run this and we'll take a look at, I've got two ways of doing it. They're below here, you can't see it right now. So the first example says the total of the list is 744.5. Second example's got the same result, 744.5. So I'm going to show you two options in how to get that total. All right. Now for the grade assignment, where you're supposed to input the grades and then add them and then average them, you still have to input them. You can't use this option to create your list. You have to do an input to input these grades inside the list. So you need to try and figure that out. If you don't know, if you have problems with that, let me know. So let's start off. I'm going to pause here for a second, get set up for the next part of the video. So here is the normal way that I would do it, but again, it's not the only way. Sometimes one way works better than the other. So this is for x in my list. Sum plus equals x. It's pretty straightforward, not a whole lot to it. And this will go through each of these numbers one at a time and get a running total. And when it's all done, the variable sum will have a total of the entire list. So the nice thing about this, you don't have to know the length of the list. You're just saying, I want you to look at each item in the list, and x represents the item as you go through the list. So the first time it goes through the list, x is 87.2. The next time, x is 98. The next time is 69.9. You get the idea, and it's going to keep adding to this total called sum. Again, this shortcut abbreviation is used to replace this sum equals sum plus x. So these two lines of code do the same exact thing. This one's just shorter. Doesn't matter how you do it. I'm just going to delete that one. All right. And then we're going to print out first example total of the list. And then it will, remember, you cannot print an integer or a float within the print statement because it only prints out strings. So you have to convert your variable to a string. And that's what this does, str, and then you put the variable inside a set of parentheses. All right, so that's we know that's working because the first time we ran it, you saw it print out. Here it is. First example total of the list is 744.5. So let me pause here. We'll bring up the next example. So in this example, the process takes a little bit more coding, but still not bad. So this one here is, you need to get the length of the list first. So you're going to say length equals len, and you put my list inside of parentheses or whatever the name of the list is. That tells us how many items are inside this list up here at the top. Just to show you what it comes out with, let's just print it. Print length, print length. And remember, that's a number, so this has to be converted to a string, str, and that has to be inside of parentheses. All right, here we go. So we'll run it again. Okay, it says the length is 9, so let's count. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so there's 9 items in the list. Makes sense, right? So comment that out, put a little pound sign in front of it. Whoops. There we go. Comment it out. So iterating through the list. Again, iterating means you're going through the list. So for x in range, and then you have a number, in this case 9, but we have a variable that represents the length of the list. We're doing sum2 plus equals my list sub x. All right, you have x inside these square parentheses. So the first time through the list, this is a 1. All right, and then the second time 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it goes off and grabs this number first, then it grabs this number second, grabs this number the third time through the list. So you have to know the length of the list, how many items, and then you're going to iterate through it, and you're going to identify which one you want to add to the variable sum2. And then we're just printing out second example total of the list. Then we again sum2. All right, so that's a little bit about going through for lists or for loops using lists. Hopefully that was helpful. Happy programming.